Close your eyes to the world for a moment. Step back from all appearances. Ignore the facts, the noise, the delays. What if I told you that miracles are not earned, chased, or begged for? They are received by assumption. You are not here to wait. You are here to become, to awaken to the truth that your every desire already exists in another dimension, waiting for you to align with it. And the secret, the real divine secret, is to act as if it is already yours. You see, the world reflects what you are, not what you wish for. You are not a beggar in this universe. You are the magnet. And what does a magnet do? It does not struggle. It does not effort. It simply attracts by nature of what it is. So I ask you, who are you being today? Are you acting as if you are someone waiting for miracles? Or are you being the one through whom miracles flow? The one who knows, not guesses. The one who assumes the reality they desire so completely, the outer world must obey. Your only job is to embody the state. Not speak of it, not hope for it, but to walk, breathe, and feel from it. Speak as the healed, move as the blessed, think as the abundant, rest as the one whose prayer is already answered. Do not measure the delay, do not look at the clock. Time has no authority over miracles. Miracles operate on belief, not schedules. And when your assumption is pure, when you are inwardly convinced, the outer will bend. This is not performance. This is revelation. When you act as if you are not pretending, you are unveiling the truth of what is already done in the unseen. You are not waiting on the miracle. The miracle is waiting on you, on your decision, on your assumption, on your embodiment. Miracles are not distant. They are drawn to the one who becomes the living vibration of their desire. So today, walk differently, think differently, feel differently, act as if you are already in possession of your answered prayer. Because in truth, you are the magnet, the miracle is drawn, and nothing can stop the one who dares to believe it is already so. Your inner world creates your outer world. Miracles begin in imagination before they appear in form. This is not poetry. It is not metaphor. It is a law, one that governs the very fabric of your reality. You walk through a world that is, moment by moment, mirroring the content of your own consciousness. Look around, not with your eyes, but with your awareness. And you will see that every circumstance, every relationship, every joy or conflict is a reflection of something long accepted within. Before a miracle is seen, it is felt. Before it touches your hands, it must take root in your mind. Your imagination is not some idle playground for fantasy. It is the womb of creation itself. Everything that has ever come into your life, whether welcome or unwanted, first appeared as a thought, a belief, an assumption. You may not have been conscious of it at the time, but the seeds were sown in the silence of your inner world. That is the power you carry. That is the truth you must awaken to. Most live backwards, reacting to what they see, responding to what already is, and wondering why nothing changes. They wait for evidence before they believe. But those who understand the deeper law, the invisible design of reality, they do not wait. They do not ask the world for permission to believe. They feel the thing fulfilled within, and by that sacred feeling, they shape what the world must become. You are not a passive observer, you are the author. You are not at the mercy of circumstance, unless you believe you are. The world of form, of material, is the echo. The real sound is made within. Your imagination is not a toy. It is divine instruction. When you dwell in an image of lack, fear, or defeat, you are handing the world the blueprint for your next experience. But when you dwell in love, in wealth, in joy, even when appearances say otherwise. You are planting seeds that must bloom. Miracles are not found, they are realized. They emerge through faith in things not yet seen, and they take shape according to your inner acceptance. Ask yourself, what are you imagining daily? What silent stories do you rehearse? What emotional tones do you dwell in? Because these are not meaningless habits, they are creative acts. They are decisions that the unseen responds to without fail. The world cannot give you what you deny yourself in imagination. You cannot hope for peace while indulging thoughts of war. You cannot ask for abundance while secretly entertaining poverty in your mind. You must first become the version of yourself who has already received. See it, feel it, believe it not as hope but as fact, and hold it even in the silence, even in the delay. This is the way of miracles, not through effort but through alignment, not by chasing but by embodying, not by begging but by assuming. The moment you make peace with your desire and see it as already yours within, the outer world begins to rearrange itself. You will find yourself in the right place at the right time. The right people will be drawn, the needed resources will flow. But it is not chance, it is not luck, it is the law. The outer must follow the inner. So go within. Make your home there. Plant miracles in the garden of imagination. Nourish them with conviction. And let the world, in its perfect timing, reflect the truth you already carry inside. Because the miracle was never out there. It was always in you. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is how you become aligned with the miraculous. The secret is not in effort, nor in striving, nor in waiting. The secret is in the assumption, the inner acceptance that what you desire is already yours. Not in theory, not in imagination alone, but in feeling. Feeling is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, between what is dreamed and what becomes real. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to live as though the desire is no longer a hope, but a present reality. You do not simply think about what you want. You feel from it. You move as the person who already possesses it. You breathe differently. You walk differently. There is a quiet confidence, a stillness that settles within you because you are no longer yearning, you are receiving. Most wait for the outer world to justify their inner belief. They say, once it comes, I'll be happy. Once I see it, I'll believe. But that is not the way of miracles. That is the way of delay. Creation does not respond to the external plea, but to the inner state. It is only when you feel the joy, the peace, the love of your fulfilled desire now that you draw it to you. You must become it within before it appears without. This is not pretending. This is not lying to yourself. This is alignment. It is truth beyond the senses. Your senses report what has been, not what is becoming. The feeling you hold in consciousness again and again is what molds the fabric of your reality. To assume the feeling is to step into a higher dimension, to visit the place where your desire already exists, and to bring a piece of that world back with you. Imagine this. If your desire were fulfilled this very moment, how would you feel? Go there. Not once, not twice, but habitually. Carry that feeling with you as you move through the ordinary. Let it become the atmosphere of your being. Your mind may question, the world may seem unchanged, but something unseen is moving. The unseen is always moved by feeling. Deep, persistent, unwavering feeling. To assume is not to wish, it is to decide. It is to inhabit a state, mentally and emotionally, so completely that the world must conform. You are not waiting for permission. You are not waiting for proof. You are assuming, taking on the identity of the one who has, the one who is, and in doing so, you awaken the miraculous. Many people ask how to manifest quickly. The answer is always the same. Assume the state of the wish fulfilled and refuse to depart from it. Do not concern yourself with how or when. That is not your domain. Your task is to feel the end result now, to rehearse the inner satisfaction, to dwell in the joy of its completion. What you feel, you feed. What you dwell in, you draw. If doubt arises, return to the feeling. If fear knocks, return again. This is a discipline of the soul. To remain loyal to the unseen truth in the face of visible contradiction. Miracles happen when you refuse to lower yourself to the level of appearances and instead remain fixed in the unseen victory. Everything begins with feeling. Everything begins within. If you can see it and feel it within and remain faithful to that internal experience, life will shape itself accordingly. You will find doors opening, paths clearing, circumstances aligning, but all of it began not with action, not with effort, but with assumption. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the signal you send to the universe. It says, "This is who I am now." And once you become it within, the world must bring it forth without. Not by accident, not by chance, but by law. Assume it now. Feel it now, and let the miraculous unfold. Belief is not hope. Belief is inner knowing, a silent certainty that reshapes reality. Hope waits. Hope wonders. Hope looks to the outside for signs, for evidence, for confirmation that what is desired might one day come. But belief is different. Belief does not beg. It does not plead. It stands tall in the unseen and declares, "It is done." Belief is not fragile, wavering with every change in circumstance. It is rooted in the invisible, unshaken by what the eyes see or the ears hear. It is not born of logic or proof, but of inner conviction. You do not need to convince the world, you need only convince yourself. For once you believe, truly, deeply, without contradiction, the outer world must yield. Reality bends to belief, not the other way around. Your inner state dictates your external experience. What you hold to be true in consciousness, what you accept without question, begins to form the pattern by which life unfolds around you. This inner knowing is not loud, it doesn't shout. It doesn't announce itself. It moves quietly beneath the surface like a deep current, shaping everything in its path. You may not see the movement at first. The world may still appear as it was, but when belief is fully assumed, not wished, not desired, but accepted, the shift has already begun. The outcome is sealed. The seed is planted. To believe is to know before you see. It is to feel something so real within that the absence of it in the outer world feels almost like a mistake. You walk, you speak, you think as though it already exists, because in your inner world it does. And since your inner world is the cause of your outer world, it is only a matter of time before what is known inwardly becomes manifest outwardly. Many confuse belief with effort. They think if they work harder, if they speak affirmations louder, if they repeat something enough times, belief will come. But belief is not forced. It is not a product of repetition alone. It arises when you let go of the doubt, when you stop needing proof, and simply accept that what you desire is already yours. Not someday, now. Even if you cannot touch it yet, belief allows you to touch it in consciousness. This kind of belief is unbothered by delay. It doesn't ask, where is it? It doesn't check for results. It rests, it knows. It is the quiet power behind all true creation. It does not panic when things appear contrary. It does not collapse under challenge. It remains still, confident in the unseen law that governs all things, that the inner shapes the outer, that what is felt to be true must eventually take form. You do not need to understand how. You do not need to chase, manipulate, or control. You need only believe, which is to say, to live from the end, to see yourself already where you want to be, and to stay loyal to that vision no matter what appearances say. This loyalty to the unseen is the greatest act of faith, and it is faith that moves the invisible hand that arranges miracles. So if you seek change, seek first to believe, not casually, not once in a while, but with unwavering inner certainty. Know what you want, feel it as yours, live as if it is already so. That belief, that silent knowing will do more for you than any action born of doubt ever could. It will make the way where there was no way. It will draw to you what no effort alone can achieve. Belief does not wait for permission. It creates. It is the unseen architect of destiny. And once it is claimed fully within, life has no choice but to obey. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are conscious of being. Desire alone does not create. Wishing for something, even intensely, is not enough. The universe is not moved by wants, it is moved by identity. It mirrors what you are, not what you hope to become. This is the great secret, that the world outside you is nothing more than a reflection of your own state of consciousness. To want something is to acknowledge its absence, and in acknowledging its absence, you create more of the same. You may say, I want love, I want wealth, I want peace. But if your inner state is one of lack, of waiting, of need, then that is what life will continue to echo back. You cannot stand in the place of longing and receive fulfillment. You must become the fulfillment. You must rise in consciousness to the level of your desire and claim it as already yours. Consciousness is the one and only reality, what you are conscious of being. Not just occasionally, but consistently, forms the blueprint of your life. You may want abundance, but if you feel poor, if you speak from struggle, if you move through the world with the heaviness of limitation, you are identifying as someone without, and so life will match you there. Not because it is cruel, but because it is lawful. The law is simple. You must be before you can see. You must first embody the version of yourself that already has the thing you desire. That is how you shift your reality. Not by chasing, not by striving, but by being. Being in this sense does not mean pretending. It means aligning your feelings, your thoughts, your expectations with the version of yourself that already possesses the thing you seek. If you desire love, you must become love. You must treat yourself with the tenderness and worthiness you long to receive. If you desire success, you must feel successful now, not because of your bank account, but because you know success is a state of mind first. If you want peace, you must stop identifying with chaos. You cannot continue to affirm problems and expect solutions to manifest. You must step into the state where the problem has already been resolved. Many say, but how do I do this when my reality is so different from what I desire? And the answer is, you do it within. You begin in imagination. You cultivate the feeling of the end. You assume the role. You make your inner world more real than the outer. And you hold to that feeling day after day until it becomes your new identity. And once it becomes who you are, the outer world will reorganize itself to reflect that change. It is not enough to say affirmations while feeling otherwise. It is not enough to visualize once and return to fear. You must become saturated with the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You must dwell in it so persistently that there is no longer room for contradiction. That is how consciousness works. It impresses itself upon the formless substance of life and brings into shape whatever image it holds most dominantly. Your outer world is always showing you who you are being. If you wish to change the outer, change the inner. Begin by observing what you are consistently feeling, thinking, and expecting, not from a place of judgment, but from understanding. And once you know where your consciousness resides, you can begin to elevate it, not by force, but by choice. You simply choose again and again to return to the state of being that matches the life you desire. You do not need to chase anything. The moment you become it within, it begins moving toward you. Not by effort, but by alignment. You attract not by wanting, but by being. and what you are conscious of being is what the world must reveal. Every miracle is already yours in the unseen. You must walk as if it were visible. There is nothing you seek that does not already exist. The moment a desire is born within you, its fulfillment is born as well, not in the world of facts, but in the unseen realm of consciousness. This realm is not imagination in the childish sense, but imagination as divine blueprint, as the true creative power of life. Every miracle, every breakthrough, every answered prayer begins there, waiting not for the world to change, but for you to change your awareness of it. Most people live as if the unseen is unreal and the seen is the only truth. They wait to see it before they believe it. But that is not how creation works. You do not see it and then believe. You believe it and then you see it. The unseen must be accepted as more real than the current facts, or you will stay trapped in cycles that repeat not because you are unlucky, but because your inner state remains unchanged. To walk as if the miracle were visible means to carry yourself in faith, not as blind belief, but as inner knowing. It means to align your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions with the truth that what you desire has already been granted. Not in some distant future, not if you prove yourself worthy, but now, in the eternal now. Your miracle is already complete, but only to the degree that you claim it as real. The unseen is more powerful than the seen because it is the cause, while the seen is only the effect. To dwell only in what your five senses can perceive is to live in the past. For all that appears is a reflection of former states of consciousness. But the moment you assume the state of the miracle, the world begins to shift. You may not see it at first, but the shift is already in motion, like a seed sprouting underground before it breaks through the surface. So how do you walk as if it were visible? You begin by choosing to feel the end, the outcome as already complete. If you knew that your healing had occurred, how would you speak? If your abundance was secured, how would you walk into a room? If the love you seek were already beside you, how would you feel waking up in the morning? These are not empty questions. These are the keys to stepping into the vibration of your miracle. You do not beg for what is already yours. You do not plead with the universe. When you understand that the universe responds to identity, not desperation, you must shift from I want to I am, from I hope to I know. When you live from that state, you do not chase outcomes, you embody them. You become the person who already possesses the result. And in doing so, you draw it near effortlessly. Doubt may come, appearances may contradict, but you must remain loyal to the unseen. That is the test. To persist in the assumption, even when nothing around you supports it. To speak as though the answer has already arrived. To act as though the way has already been made clear. This is not delusion. This is divine discipline. It is how the invisible becomes visible, how the intangible becomes tangible. Your miracle is not coming, it is already here. But you must rise to meet it in consciousness. You must claim it in imagination and carry yourself as one who already possesses it. Speak the words, feel the feelings, take the steps. Not because you are pretending, but because you know a greater truth than the one the world offers you. The unseen becomes seen when you stop waiting and start being. Be the version of yourself who already received. Be the one who walks in gratitude before the evidence appears. Be the one who trusts that what was done in spirit must appear in form. And soon enough, what was once only imagined will become undeniable reality, because you had the courage to walk as if it were already so. The unseen responds to your dominant assumption. Live as if the miracle has already occurred. All creation begins in the invisible. The world you experience with your five senses is not the cause but the effect. What appears before you is merely the echo of what has been impressed upon the unseen realm. And this realm, which many dismiss as fantasy or wishful thinking, is the birthplace of every miracle. It does not respond to momentary desires or fleeting thoughts. It responds only to your dominant assumption, the state of consciousness you occupy most consistently. Your dominant assumption is not what you hope for when you are feeling inspired or when things are going well. It is the belief you return to when you're alone with your thoughts, when fear creeps in, when the facts of life seem to contradict your desires. It is your internal compass, the self-concept you've accepted as true. And from that internal state, your entire outer world is constructed. The unseen does not argue with you. It simply reflects. If you desire a miracle, whether in health, in finances, in relationships, or in your sense of purpose, you must first assume it has already occurred. You must make that assumption so natural, so familiar, that it feels more real to you than anything your physical eyes can see. That is the key. The unseen responds not to what you say occasionally, but to what you are, what you feel to be true at the core of your being. Living as if the miracle has already occurred is not pretending. It is not fantasy or self-deception. It is spiritual alignment. It is the bold declaration that inner reality is greater than outer circumstance. When you assume the feeling of the fulfilled desire, you are not wishing, you are creating. You are laying the groundwork for the unseen to crystallize into form. So how does one live in this assumption? You feel it. You enter the state of your wish fulfilled and you dwell there. You imagine how life looks and feels now that your miracle has come to pass. You move through your day with the calm confidence that comes from knowing it is already done. You let go of waiting, because waiting implies it's not yet yours. You stop checking for evidence, because one who knows does not need proof. Second, you speak from it. Your words carry creative power. If you continue to speak of problems, delays, and lack, you are reinforcing a reality you no longer wish to inhabit. But when you speak from the state of completion, when your words match the world you have already claimed in consciousness, you solidify that reality in the unseen. Eventually it must appear. Third, you act from it. You begin to carry yourself like someone who has already received. You make decisions as if the outcome were guaranteed. You no longer act out of fear or desperation, but from peace, clarity, and assurance. And though the facts may not have changed yet, your inner world has, and the outer must follow. There is no power in waiting for conditions to change before you believe. There is only delay. But when you dare to assume, when you choose to live in the end, to embody your desire, the unseen begins to shift. Circumstances, people, and events will move to match your inner state. And it will feel miraculous, not because something was created out of nothing, but because you aligned with what was always available. The unseen is never withholding. It is always responding, faithfully, precisely, and without judgment. It gives you not what you beg for, but what you accept as true. The moment your dominant assumption becomes one of already having, already being, your miracle is no longer distant, it becomes inevitable. So, stop asking whether it will happen, assume that it already has, and live, speak, and move from that sacred place. For the unseen responds only to the truth you live in your heart. And when that truth is one of fulfillment, life will unfold to prove it. The truth is simple yet profound. You are not here to chase miracles, but to awaken to the reality that they already exist within you. The world you experience is not something happening to you, but something flowing from you. As you shift your dominant assumptions, as you live from the end, as you walk in the feeling of already having, the unseen begins to rearrange itself in your favor. You do not need to strive or struggle. You need only to remember who you are, a living magnet for miracles, a divine creator clothed in human form. What you assume consistently becomes your world. What you believe silently becomes your life. So dare to believe in the invisible, dare to walk by faith and not by sight, and most importantly, dare to become the one who already holds the very thing they once hoped for. Now, live boldly, act confidently, and speak as though your miracle is already here. Because in truth, it is. Thank you.